John Dumas is on the call. Dumas. Hello, David.
Hello, Foster.
I've got my fire going. I see you got a fireplace behind you with no fire, but anyways, good night for it.
I'll tough it out.
Okay.
Hey, Tim. And John Dumas.
Hello,
Hello, how you doing?
doing great. Thank you, David.
Hey, John.
Hi.
Can you see me, John? I can see you. It's Foster.
Hey, Foster.
There you go. Okay. I'm not sure who I'm looking at. I see you. Okay. You're bright red.
Mr. Dixon.
Howdy, howdy.
Hi, Phil.
Top
Foster.
evening. Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year.
Happy New Year to you too, sir.
My goodness, we have two Tim Kennedys.
No, I'm leaving one of these guys. I couldn't hear anything on the one, so I had to get out of there. Can you hear me now, David?
Yeah.
Okay,
you're
great.
doing fine.
Great. And I can hear you guys now.
Y'all, Rachel won't be joining us tonight. She wasn't feeling well. So it looks like we're just waiting for Jeff and Beth. But we do have a quorum, so at 6 o'clock we can get started.
Thank goodness.
Have some items been removed from the agenda?
No, sir.
Oh,
It's just not 10 items like it was last month.
okay.
Rachel is not going to be on the call because she's sick.
That's not good. She did the paperwork.
Mhm.
She did the work. Right? Say she
Ready,
did the
Becca?
work.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Philip Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architecture Review, and we welcome you to our Board of Architecture Review board meeting. It's now 6 p.m. on January the 4th, 2022, the time scheduled for our meeting to begin. Depending on the size or complexity of a project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date, once plans are more fully developed, to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before the applicant comes back before the board. One of the projects being reviewed this evening has been submitted before and is now ready to be considered for a further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on the aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we are not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant and the board members, except for demolition requests, we usually choose to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision-making after the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions that they might have. Because of the number of projects that we have to review this evening, we ask that anyone wishing to comment to please try to limit your comments to not more than 5 minutes, if possible.
Summaries on there, so that's good.
As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to the board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that need to be made, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Please respond with a yes or a no when I call your name. David,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Rachel, Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and mine is yes. The first project on our list tonight is 212 South Gum Street. Will the person?
I don't think they're on, Phil. It's up to y'all. We can push this until the end. I know we have Tom Hart on the Zoom call to make some comments, and I do have a letter to read regarding it. So either way, we can still hear, both of those things. But I'll leave that up to y'all if you want to push it to the end of the meeting, but they are not on the call, it looks like.
Well, my thought would be to let them go last then, and we'll just take care of everything else.
I
Okay.
agree.
Okay, so the next one, excuse me?
No, I was gonna say that Chelsea, you're up then.
For 613 South Magnolia Street.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, that's me. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
And
Go ahead,
Chelsea,
Bill.
you just let me know if you want me to hop around to pictures, but if you want to just give them a brief explanation of the situation.
Sure. Becca, if you could just kind of put up the picture, if you don't mind, of the shed that I was trying to raise the roof on so that they can see what I was working with.
Yep, that's up.
Thanks. We recently purchased this house and a golf cart for my husband for his birthday. He went out of town and I went to go put the new golf cart in the horrible shed that's right there that we've always had intentions of demoing one day. And it didn't fit by like this much. The golf cart just wouldn't go in. And so my intention was I called down, my dad has maintenance properties. So I called down my maintenance crew and I said, let's raise this thing about 6 inches, the roof, and then the golf cart can slide in. Well, it fell over, not a little bit. It literally just collapsed on us. And I should have known better. I should have gotten approval, but in order to not get in trouble with the person I was really worried about, my husband, not really. I quickly had the guys, because we have a lot of lumber and plank and stuff like that, and metal roofing because of what we do for a living in storage. So I said, go grab it, come put this thing back up as best you can. And 48 hours later, the garage was up. My husband came back and I got in trouble.
Wow.
So maybe if you could put up what it looks like now. So it's the exact same footprint, except in the back, it's about 3 inches shorter just because of how long 2x4s are. And it's made of cement plank board and a metal roof. It's a carport. It's painted Chantilly lace to match my house. And hopefully soon, with permission, we'll get a metal roof as well that matches this. Our intention, to be honest with you, was never to have this shed fixed up. We really would like to one day very soon demo all of it and put in a 3-car garage. But this was my temporary solution. Please be kind.
It looks like a great improvement.
Oh, if you have the ability to zoom in on that shed, you can see why it fell on us. Yes, and we're slowly working to improve the entire house. We'll get there.
You're doing a lot of work on landscaping on the corner. That's nice.
Yes, sir. We're trying. Added a lot of Formosa azaleas and joined the garden club, and we'll see how that goes.
So currently you guys have not put a roof on yet?
Say that again?
So currently you have not installed a roof?
Oh, no, there's a silver metal roof on it. Yes, sir.
Oh, there is.
I was
Okay.
saying
All
that-
right, gotcha.
Yeah, I'd like to add the same one on my roof on the main house, but we just haven't done it yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
What's going on behind you?
Oh, you're going to love my neighbor. He's great. His name's Virgil. He also yelled at me for being dumb. He's a GC and he's building a beautiful house with, like, I'm sure you'll see with him coming through this association, but he's building a beautiful home.
He's actually just outside of the historic district. You're the buck stops with you. So
Yeah, I was actually, I just found out I'm in the historic district because Jerry Moore, I don't know if any of y'all know Jerry and Penn Moore, who we got the house from. He told me I wasn't in it and I believed him. So
So now you know that if you're going to make any changes to the exterior or any additions, you know you have to go through the ABR, right? The AR, right?
Oh yeah, I knew the house was a thing. I honestly, I don't have a good excuse. The thing fell down. I panicked. We don't have attics or closets in our house. That held my kids' bikes. It held the golf cart. It held our Christmas decorations. It held everything, or my husband's tools. So I panicked. I don't have more to say. I don't have a good excuse.
Well, the good news is what you did looks nice and it was a good improvement compared to what you had. So that's the good news. So.
Okay, good.
May I have a motion to approve it?
This is Jeff and I make the motion to approve it.
Second?
We have to give her a mild slap on the hand, though.
Yes.
A very little one.
trust me, she's already been through the ringer with me. So
Okay.
Oh.
I'll second.
I was nice.
All right.
She
right,
was
please
awesome.
respond.
Everyone's been great. I made a mistake and I'm sorry.
Okay, let me get a vote. David,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Rachel, Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and mine is yes. So, thank you much. We'll see you when you get ready to do the other work.
Okay, absolutely. I promise I will call first.
All right, Chelsea, I'll send you the certificate tomorrow morning, okay?
Okay, do you mind? Am I allowed to go put my girls to bed? Is that allowed
Yeah.
now?
Yep, you
Yep.
can sign
Oh.
off.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right,
Happy
bye-bye.
New Year.
Bye. Good night.
Our next project is 905 South Main Street. Renovation addition to an existing family residence. Is the owner?
I am present. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Tell
great,
us
great.
about it.
So this is my second round with y'all, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me this afternoon. Basically, just a quick run through of the project. That rear portion of the home was built, somewhere in the 1970s, 1980s. The original portion of the house is 1880s. So this project is basically removing that exterior addition that was added on, 100 years later. It's sort of a hodgepodge. The spaces inside the kitchen and living room, they don't really work for us very well. So the project entails demolishing that and giving us an expanded kitchen and living room on the first floor and a bedroom on the second floor, a master suite on the second floor. The addition pretty much covers the same footprint as the original additions that were on there. There is a little bit more because we added a porch. Let's see, I've got notes here. The addition's not visible from the street. It's only on the rear of the house. The progress that I've made since the last meeting, Rachel's further developed the plans. She has the materials on there. We also incorporated the couple of recommendations that you all had last time, which included going to 6/6 windows on the southwest elevation and lining up the second story window with the restroom that was on the first floor. You see that over there, right side elevation. So we corrected that. Looks much better. I like how that turned out. So appreciate that. In addition, I've engaged a geotechnical engineer to do soils analysis at the rear of the house. He also made recommendations for foundations. I then in turn engaged the structural engineer who designed the foundations and the structure for the new addition. I did notice a note that you had on the cover page that pertained to the percentage of pervious space that we had were just a tiny tad over. And my suggestion, if you want to go to the site plan, please. I think it's the first plan after the photos. There we go. My suggestion, what I like to propose is trimming that existing concrete patio down a little bit to get the, I'll do some plantings or whatnot in there to get a little more impervious space so I can meet the requirement.
Yep. As long as it's under a half of the percent, then that's fine. So you probably could just shave off just a little bit and you'd be fine.
Yeah, I think I looked at the calculations. It's literally like 10 square feet.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
It's not a whole lot. So I'd like to do that. Keep the porch. My wife would really appreciate that. She's really looking forward to that porch. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Again, the materials list Rachel's put on the drawings. My intent is to match the historic house so that when you go into the addition, it doesn't feel like you've gone to a new house or to another house. I want it kind of seamless and really respect the historic older home. So that's really my goal and what I've told Rachel that I want. So that's pretty much it.
Jeremy, this is Tim.
Yes, sir.
2 quick questions for you.
Yes.
It looks like you're using actual wood siding. Is that correct?
That's correct. The original home is wood siding. We had considered hardy plank, but I don't know if you're familiar with that product. It's very thin, and I just do not think it would match the existing wood that's on there. They make an architectural one that's a little thicker, but it's still, I would not be happy with. I don't think it would match, and I don't think I'd be happy with
Good
it.
decision.
From our perspective, that's great. So
Okay.
we support that. I think that's a great move.
So did we approve any of this last time?
The only comments I got were concerning the two 6/6 windows and lining up the other window. And I think everybody thought the addition would be good.
But
It
didn't
was
we
just
approve-
conceptual last time.
Oh, it's
Yes.
just conceptual, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm pleased with it, and I would move that we accept it as presented.
Second that.
Second.
Hey,
All right. Please
guys,
answer.
wait a minute, Phil, before you go. This is Tim again. I lost you guys. I'm sorry. I got disconnected from my Wi-Fi. Jeremy, just one last quick question on the windows. What windows are you planning to use?
So I talked with Rachel quite a bit and our contractor. They're windows that will have the dividers with true dividers within the panes, so that if you come up close to the window, you can actually see a divider in there. Rachel was pretty emphatic about that.
Right, and you do plan to use like a wood-clad window, not a vinyl window?
Yes.
Now, wait,
Okay, great.
now wait a minute. You're talking about between the panes grid or simulated divided lights?
Is that not the same thing?
Now, the simulated divided lights has got the grid pattern on the outside and the inside.
Yes. So there's dividers on the inside of the glass that divide out the panes.
How about the outside?
Yes, there's a grid on the outside and the inside with this.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
I wanted it to match the existing as close as we could get.
Yeah, we'd have to fire Rachel if she told you to do it the other way.
We would have to fire Rachel. Absolutely.
I originally looked for individual pane windows, but there was only one company that I found that actually made those, and I think it was Marvin, and their availability was just non-existent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you.
We have
That's all my questions.
Okay, we've got a motion to accept it. Please answer. David,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and mine is yes. So wish you well with it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
All righty.
Thank you. Good luck.
Our next one is 500 West 2nd South Street. New construction of a single-family residence. And I saw that the owner was on us with a little while ago.
Yeah, Foster was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foster,
Yeah.
are you with us?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm going to have Marie Lindenmeyer do a presentation.
Marie, did you want to share your screen, or do you want to just tell me which pages to bounce back and forth between?
Hi, Becca. You can just start there, I guess, and I'll let you have control. How about that?
That's fine.
Okay, so this is the Smith's proposed home. This is the view on the front, rear, left side, and right side view. And so the plans have undergone multiple revisions to make sure everything is proper, and Rachel at Swallowtail was very helpful with that. So here is the plans that Becca has of the front elevation and the rear elevation. And then again, on the sides, we have the right view and then the left side view with the 2-car garage there. And then the floor plan has gone through revisions from the original plans to make sure that everything, the windows are up to code, and exterior doors. The flow of the plan is quite lovely. As you can see, it's a 1-story plan, so living spaces will be on that first floor, and it's split. So you have the secondary bedrooms and spaces separate from the owner's suite. There is an attic space above the garage. The Smiths chose not to have this as a livable space, but it will simply be for storage. The materials that have been pre-selected for the home would be the landmark shingles in the charcoal black, the meridian brick around the foundation. You see there that picture there. And then for the exterior, we're looking at Charleston white, which is the historical Charleston color, hardy cement, the artisan smooth for the lap siding, for the board and batten as well. And all of that would be in the Charleston white trim as well. The shutter color that was selected is the Sherwin-Williams tricorn black, just a very standard white house with black shutters. You can't get more traditional than that. The front door style, we have a mahogany door with the side lights, and honestly, I'm the one that selected that door. If there needs to be some changes to that, that's not a problem, but that is what is shown on the plans that Rachel provided for us as far as the style is concerned. This picture here, that's fine, Becca, we can move to, this is the site for the home. And I believe, Foster, you can speak to this. I do see some flagged stakes. Is that outlining where the home would sit?
Yeah, Scott Wilson has already put the plot plan together and put those stakes on the ground.
Okay. So the next one, same thing. We're just seeing it added from a different angle. And the next one, this, I believe, Foster, you provided this for me. This is behind the site. Is that correct, or is it to the side?
That's looking behind it.
Behind it, that's right. Okay.
That's across the street from the front of the house. That's John Dumas' garage. And that's just a view looking down the street. So that the house will be on the right from this angle.
And Foster, if I remember right, this street's not really open, right? This is
No,
more like a driveway.
It doesn't go anywhere. That's Kent Leslie's house, which is back beyond me, beyond the drainage ditch. It goes. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm standing at Kent Leslie's driveway, looking back down the street. To the left, you can see my current house.
Right, gotcha. And this house is behind your current house?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that? Is that a shed that's
there?
there?
It's just for reference. That's Kent Leslie's garage. This is the Bill and Megan's house up at the top of the hill. So as you referenced, there's Leslie's house. John Dumas across the street. There's about 4 or 5 houses up this street that doesn't go anywhere.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
And so, yes, that's the location. They are behind the Smith current home off of the West 2nd South Street.
Foster, which way is the house gonna face?
It's going to face, it's going to face Hickory.
It's gonna
it's gonna
face
face
Hickory, and so the
Right.
garage will be on the side.
Right, it's
Like
going to
a
be a side load garage. It's going to face
Okay.
Hickory.
How big are the magnolias that are going to be taken out?
They're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, it's on a plot plan. It's got, let's see if I've got it right.
I couldn't see the sizes.
One of
Well-
them is a 17. That's on the rear of the property.
Yeah, it's in the front page.
And then I think a 15-inch on the left side. Am I correct about that? Is that what you guys are seeing?
They're all marked on the site plan here.
Yes, they are. There's a 10-inch at the very front. The X is
Nancy Jean, was your
sometimes marked
question
through, yeah.
specifically about magnolia trees or?
Well, I don't think there's any problem with getting rid of the gum trees, but I'm just not sure. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if that size magnolia is okay to take out, and
Okay,
And some-
there's a big magnolia in the back that stays. That is a big magnolia. There's a snagged magnolia that got broken off in Hugo actually, and it's coming out. And then there's some smaller magnolias on the front, and we're gonna see save what we can, but we'll clear out. There's a lot of privet and that kind of stuff that's just in the front.
What's the rule on the size of trees?
So any tree 8 inches or over in diameter has to have a permit to be removed. From there, and it doesn't matter the species. From there, if it's 16 inches or greater, it's considered a grand tree and it has to be approved by the tree protection board unless it is dead, diseased, dying. Sometimes if it's within the house footprint and there is nowhere else to place the house on the property, our arborist can approve it at a staff level. But that is something that is handled at the time of permitting. Bill, our arborist, will work with Foster and go over which ones specifically need to, but the ones I outlined in my staff report would have to go before the tree protection board to be removed.
So Foster, this is Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Generally, I think the house looks great. One quick thing that I can't quite tell is typically, in the historic district, we encourage crawl spaces over slab on grades. And I believe in this case, you're using a slab on grade. Is that correct?
No, raised slab.
Okay, but still no crawl space in this particular case.
No, it's not. Yeah, not gonna be a crawl space.
Okay, and it looks like, looking at your plans, that from the existing grade to the porch is going to be 2 feet, raised 2 feet. Is that correct? When I look at the dimensions here, it says 2 feet, but then when I look at the site plan, it was unclear as to the finished floor. It says finished floor is 56 feet, and the existing grade, I couldn't tell exactly what the existing grade was there. So basically, we want to encourage you to keep that raised look and not have a slab on grade, but create a raised slab.
Yeah, it's going to look as if it's a crawl space.
Okay. All right. So you'll have that 2 feet grade at least on the porch.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Would you plan on putting simulated vents around the bottom of the Foster to make it look like a crawl space?
Yes, we usually do that. So yes is the answer to the question.
Good idea.
Are you particularly in love with shutter details?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not
Me
sure.
too.
I'm not sure what the question is, if there was a question there.
We're not wild about the shutters.
Right. So this is something that I was looking into as well. Do you prefer the type of shutters that you see in the downtown historical homes that have more of the raised panel? Is that preferred?
That or
Or either louvers.
louver,
Or louvers? Okay.
the panel,
Which would you,
paneled ones will give you less trouble over the years.
right. So the raised panels, there's the 3 raised panel and then the 2. Would the 2 be sufficient to have in this style home here, since it's not
That would probably look best with the 2/2.
right.
Yeah, I think they need to align with the window patterns.
Right.
Right. I agree. Okay, that can be done.
That was my only comment.
Me too.
Is the color of choice good as well?
It is for me.
Yeah, it was fine with me.
Okay, good.
Any other comments, questions?
For me.
I have a motion.
May
So
I,
I move we
May I
accept it
inter-
as,
may I interject some comments as being invited
Sure.
to participate in this?
yes.
Please tell us who you are and where you are.
Okay, my name is John Dumas. My wife Sandy and I live directly across the street from this project at 307 South Hickory Street. We built our house 32 years ago. I've been an architect for 50 years, and Trish and Foster were very gracious to allow me to come over and review the drawings for their house. I've written to Becca an extensive list of my comments. Most of them do not have to deal with the VAR, however. Some, though, do. And I think you've started to touch on them this evening. And I would like to just reiterate a couple things. First off is you brought up the idea of the shutters. And if you look at the proportions of them, it's been my understanding that we would like in the historic district, if we're proposing shutters, to have operable shutters. Is that my understanding? That's what's going to be provided?
Either operable or the size that would be appropriate to be operable.
All right, then if you look at the front elevation facing South Hickory Street, you look at the shutter size as it relates to the windows. They are either would need to be bifolding shutters on the, where you've got the paired windows going into the great room, as opposed to the shutters on the single 2/2 windows on the rest of the house and above. The ones that are on the paired windows, it seems to me that they would need to be hinged operable windows, because there's not enough room to put a shutter that size. And that is typically what is done on a historical home where you have paired windows. Secondly, if you look at the site plan, if you can bring that up a minute, the finished floor elevation is, and this, one of the members mentioned this earlier, and I just want to clarify. The finished floor elevation is shown as 56. The existing grade around the perimeter of the proposed residence is shown as 54.2, 52.1, and 53. with bringing the finished grade around the entire perimeter of the house up to 56. That is not what is shown on the elevations, and it is a violation of the International Residential Building Code. It's required that the finished grade be no closer than 8 inches to finished floor. In other words, there needs to be an 8-inch gap, or you can exceed that, which I would advocate that the amount of earth fill that's being proposed here is up to 5 feet of fill, because this soil condition here, adjacent from mine, the first 12 inches of soil is a very rich, dark black topsoil with an underlayer of 12 inches of pure white compacted sand. And below that, down at elevation minus 24 is the gray brown marl. You might find that when you get to do the geotechnical. However, both of those would need to be both 12 inches of the topsoil and the 12 inches of the sand would need to be removed in order to do a compacted slab on grade and raise it up to an elevation of 56. If you're going from 53 up to 56, that's 3 plus the 2 of additional excavation, that's 5 feet of fill. This is why it's going to impact the existing grand trees that are around the total perimeter of the property, because of the amount of fill that needs to be brought in order to make this work. But the other condition is that I would like to ask the board to consider, and Foster, of course, you and Trish, if we looked at the front elevation, if it would be possible to trim back the left and right return wings, which have the hip roof on them, and have a gable condition, what we call a half gable, as that porch roof returns to the main great room form, which you can see slightly shown with the board and batten siding above it on the upper window there that goes into the great room. I think it would look a lot nicer. And if the grade exceeds 24 inches, which I think is an error on Rachel's drawing, she says a minimum of 24 inches. I think she means a maximum of 24 inches, because if the grade change is 25 inches, you're required to have a railing around the perimeter of the porch. So it would be essential to maintain at least 24 inches, but not exceed 24 inches to maintain this appearance. I'm just asking the board and Foster and Trish to consider revising the plan slightly to eliminate the left-hand and right-hand returns on this grand front porch. I think it would be more in keeping with the architecture, minimize its impact on to South Hickory, and those returns would not be used anyway. It would also potentially save a 10-inch magnolia that is in good shape at the front right-hand corner of that porch. If you look at the grades, revising this with some care would also save a 33-inch white oak on the left-hand side.
We do
understand.
have a engineering reviewer who will look at all of that in accordance with our building plan reviewer. I just want to remind everyone that. But of course, we appreciate your comments. John, did you have anything else you wanted to go over?
Yes.
Okay.
The issue of the garage door, it was my understanding that this is a single door rather than two doors, which is kind of unusual in the historic district to not have two doors. I think two doors could be easily achieved here and not negate the look all that much. But, let me say this. My wife and I think that the architecture overall is in keeping with the context of the surrounding residential homes and the character. And when we built our homes, I took care to not take out a single tree and to not have a grass lawn. We planted Japanese Asiatic ground cover, so it's a solid green mat cover. It's taken over quite healthy all over the place. But this street used to be, and the reason we purchased the property there from the AME church and the backyard of Bishop Jordan was that prior to Hurricane Hugo, you could come down South Hickory after you turned off a second, and there was a tree canopy that you could not see the sky. Of course, Hugo solved that problem. And these past couple of hurricanes have further thinned that out. So I certainly appreciate Foster's concern about the large pines and possibly even the gums, but that's not the purview of this board as I understand it. But it was the character of South Hickory there to be a private lane. Mayor Myers came to me and asked me personally if I would mind if the town would pave the street. Well, the town did pave the street. They used to be a gravel street, and they put 1/2 inch of asphalt down. So it's fine. It's just that it's losing its character. And I would ask Foster and Trish to really try and think hard about how to keep a buffer that's a character there in keeping with the rest of the vegetation that's there.
May I ask John Dumas a question?
Certainly.
With my limited knowledge, my understanding is if you build up soil around a tree that's been growing, it will eventually kill it. Is that accurate?
That's absolutely true. If you build under the drip line of the tree,
Yeah.
you will kill it.
I hate to see that happen. If it's possible to build this house without doing that much fill as you described, to me, trying to save magnolias and a white oak, those are part of the trees are part of what makes Somerville special. And if that's legal for us to suggest, I would like to do so.
My point was simply from a structural standpoint and an architectural design standpoint, the house would look much better and cost less because the foundation needs to go down to at least 2 feet below existing grade. It's going to be down that far anyway. So, that 5 feet of height can be achieved in a number of ways. And it's going to be difficult of having a turn down slab that height without doing a whole bunch of formwork. An easier way to do it would be to have a reinforced concrete block foundation with the brick
Covering.
as the entire veneer. Once you got below grade, you could have a 3.5 inch, 3 5/8 inch concrete block veneer with tied in with horizontal reinforcing to the 8-inch structural wall, and then just do a compacted slab in between. And the other thing is that the garage, if you note from the plans, and it's not shown up here right yet, but I'm sure Rachel will pick it up, is that the floor slab she's showing is 12 inches below finished floor. So that would put the garage elevation at 55 feet. So right away, you're coming in and you should slope the garage floor at a minimum of 1/8 of an inch per foot from the back to the garage doors so that it drains. And I will tell you this, in the 32 years that we've lived here, the water has come up South Hickory Street because right at the point you can see the canal. Canal has flooded such that at the point where it crosses South Hickory, there's been 3 feet of water on that. The elevation right now at that point, finished grade, existing grade is 53.8. So that meant that as I walked through it during the very last time that we had that creek flood, it floods very rapidly through there, and it's starting to tear out the retaining walls on either side. There's 3 feet of water right there, and it has flowed under our house, which is, our house is built on concrete block and brick piers.
Mr. Dumas, if I may, I really think these are concerns that need to be taken up with our engineering department at the time of permitting. I understand that they affect design, and these are by no means final construction drawings that the board reviews.
I know, and I just wanted to share my comments that
Of course.
I have no objection to the overall architectural aesthetic. I think it's a job well done. We'd be glad to have it there. And I look forward to working with seeing this implemented as much as the town would let me.
Yeah, and I would be happy to get you in contact with the arborist and the engineer who's going to be reviewing the project, because I know it's important because you're a neighbor and of the concerns you've raised. So I'll definitely send that contact information to you as well.
Well, these are economical things for Foster and Trish to consider that they may not know about. I know their son very well as a general contractor and residential contractor. He's done 4 projects for me that he could respond to the economics of this also. And I know it's early in the process, but I think that the owners want to move ahead. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John. Anything else, board members? One thing I noticed, it doesn't really have the civil work there, which will take care of a lot of that, the problems that John mentioned, civil and structural. So refer that to Rachel and her people for that one. I know she'll get that done.
Is this a conceptual approval or?
This was submitted as a final, but of course, if they want to present it as conceptual, that they have that option.
Okay.
Foster, are you Want to go back and take a look at any particular parts of it?
No, this is we're submitting it for final approval. We've been
Okay.
through a good bit. And so anyway, and in light of the soil and all this, that, you know, I don't know that that's a part of the decision, but John Perryman came out and did a big boring bid all through the backyard, and all that that John referenced is not what the soil scientists came up with. So.
Okay, well, that would be more of the engineering department, not the BAR.
Yeah, right.
So,
David, are we ready for a motion?
yes,
All right, this is Tim. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the drawings with the one caveat that the grade at the front porch maintained that 2 foot delta difference. So between the final grade and the house, so that it keeps that elevated look. And
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure why the conflict exists on the site plan, but per the elevations, Foster is what we would be looking for.
Yeah.
So are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And the shutter
And the shutters are fine.
alteration.
Yeah, and
Yes.
just raised panel shutters. Thank you, David.
David, did you want to include those vents under the house?
Jeff does.
Okay.
Okay, we got the vents.
I need a
All right.
second. I need a second.
I'll second. David,
All right, please respond with a yes or no. David,
yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and mine is yes. So we wish you well, Foster.
All right, well, thank you all. Appreciate your time and effort, and we'll see Becca and the planning and all the rest of the departments as we go.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll send you
luck.
your certificate tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
our next one is 207 South Gum Street. Is the owner or somebody to represent them here?
It doesn't appear that Drew is on. Let me just double check here. So we will go ahead and shoot back up to 212 South Gum. It'll just take me a second here.
Becca,
Mr.
can
Steele, are
you,
you on? Oh, I'm sorry, Beth. What'd
oh,
you say?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you one quick question.
Yes.
Can you, with Foster's house, can you keep us up to date on what the engineering department says?
Yeah.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah, kind of keep us in the loop.
Sure.
And the arborist?
Yep.
Yes, there you go, Nancy Jean.
Picky.
Yeah, the meeting posts or notifications are a little less intense than my BAR ones. They don't have to send out letters, but they do have to post it in the paper and then post a sign saying when the public hearing will be. And the tree protection board meetings are actually at 9 a.m. on a Monday usually. But I'll let y'all know when those are.
Okay.
And if there's anything concerning with Dale, our engineer's review. He is extremely thorough, almost to a fault. So
Okay.
I will keep y'all in the loop. But if we have one of the Steels on, I thought I saw.
Hello.
Hello.
David, tell us about it. He was on a second ago.
I am.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I flew and the iPad blinked out on me.
David, if you want to go over the changes that y'all made to these most recent revisions for the board members.
Yes, the designer put back the X-rail existing that's on the front porch. We also reduced the size of the front study and dropped it back a little bit. We split the windows into singles. We gave foundation a pier look with some recessed panels. What else we did?
Now, is the foundation still going to be I think we were talking about stuccoing it? Tabby or, yeah, something like.
Right. We were planning on doing a tabby exterior stucco finish on the piers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the recessed panels can be tabby, or we can add some faux 5/4 by 6 in there and make it look as though it's a crawl space, which it is a crawl space.
Okay.
To give that look.
Mm-hmm.
So up to what you guys would like to have in your house.
I did have, before I let Mr. Hart speak, or we have more questions, I do have a letter I need to read quickly. If
You
the
do
board-
not.
Okay. It's a quick one, I promise. This is from Miss Karen
John
Healy.
Dumas, I'm okay.
210 East Richardson Avenue. She said, I did see the sign in front of 212 South Gum and watched the BAR meetings. I would like to respond to the 2 sets of plans that have been submitted for approval. There has been much discussion and redesign work with more in the works. My comment is in regard to the setback on the right side of the property, and I don't remember if it has been addressed. The existing structure on the right side that looks like an extension to the main house is very close to the property line and is obviously less than what is permitted today. My concern is that adding more mass along the same line and bringing it forward towards the porch would create visual weight out of proportion to the shape and the dimension of the lot. Thank you, Karen Healy.
Who was that from?
Karen Healy of 210 East Richardson.
Okay.
Can we see it in relation to the size of the lot? The
Site plan?
yes.
So again, that dotted line that you see is the existing.
And the existing is 3.5 feet off of the property line. Is that right? Or 3 feet off the property?
Yeah.
3.3.
Yep.
So you sent a letter out today. Did everybody get the letter that Becca sent out that had all the pictures and surveys?
From Mr.
Yes.
Hart, yeah, and Tom's on the line if you want to comment.
And his house, isn't it closer to the property line than would be permitted?
Yeah, they both are.
Yes, they're both non-conforming.
Right. So the existing house is just the wing that sticks out close to the property line is that one that's right under the 186.18. So it's just a section, right?
Correct.
And that section is 2-story.
No.
No, it's 1 story.
Okay.
And Becca, help me understand something. I know you sent us an email about this, but I just want to make sure I completely understand it. And this is not in our purview, but the the way Somerville interprets the zoning, that if there is an existing building that encroaches into the setback, you can still do an addition and continue and expand that encroachment in the setback?
Correct, as long as it does not go further within that setback. And I understand.
Is that an interpretation or is that actually written that way? I'm just curious.
So the UDO doesn't address it directly in respect to setbacks. My understanding and what I've gone over with our director of planning is that with the existing condition, that's addressed in chapter 12 of the UDO, which addresses nonconformities. The way council had the UDO written is that that whole section would not, as far as structures, not uses or anything like that, but as far as structures, residential properties used as residences are exempt from being forced basically to be compliant, even if it were a substantial improvement, which I would assume that this is probably that. But even if it were a substantial improvement, residential structures used for residential purposes are exempt from that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, with a little bit of historical context, in the 1980s, when we added on to the existing servants' quarters behind our house, that is non-conforming in terms of its relationship to the property line back there. It's probably 3 or 4 feet off. And we were given permission to extend back our addition to the cottage, keeping it in that same line. So this goes back a while, and there, in the older part of town, there are lots of structures that are non-conforming to setbacks by current regulations. So that.
But David, how close is that to your neighbor's property, your neighbor's structure?
Well, their structure is about the same distance off the line as we were, and they have some. They have an old stable that's been converted to a garage and some residences that probably 1 foot off the property line. It's kind of something that happens in the old part of town.
But those two structures that you're talking about, David, neither of those are the main house.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
I was just trying to put it in context that this is not some new rule.
Right.
That does not change my opinion as to this project being too massive for that, for what is there. It's too big of a makeover for me.
And I'm happy to address my concerns in addition to what I submitted in writing, if I'm allowed to.
You are. Oh, by the way, I think I've taken over running the meeting for a while because Philip Dixon is a neighbor to this property.
While I'm not recusing myself, I'm not going to be involved in the discussion either way.
Okay. And Mr. Dixon is a neighbor on one side across the street, 2nd Street, and I'm the neighbor on the other side of the property. And I submitted written comments, and the couple of things, just to summarize, I'm not going to read everything because I'm sure you have an opportunity to do that. But I spoke with Mr. Steele about this. I couldn't be at the first meeting. I've been out of town working, and my work schedule out of town didn't allow me to participate like this. But before the second one, I called him, and then I saw him on his property, and I actually visited with him and spoke with things and shared my concerns with him. So I'm not blindsiding him or anything by doing this at this time. We've had at least 2 discussions about this, and he's proceeding ahead. My home was built in about 1905, 1910, the best I can detect, and I think that was before side setbacks and things were really established in Somerville. The home Mr. Steele has, I believe, was built sometime afterwards, and it was built, and both homes are encroaching on what would be the current setback. I think mine is 5 or 6 feet from the side. His is less than 3.5 feet from the side. However, when they were built, they're staggered. So the distance between the homes is much greater. Where his home comes out toward the sideline, my home actually goes away from it. And I provided the map there that shows from the Somerville zoning map there. My house is not actually right on the line like it's shown there, but you can see the stagger there. This would eliminate the stagger, and where you have a 14-foot small room that comes out, he's going to extend it to whatever the measurement I gave you in the thing, 46 feet, 47 feet almost there, front and back there. And this has been a practice, as David pointed out, in Somerville to allow continuation of an encroachment there. But it's a practice. It's not a regulation. It's not a law. It's not a rule. Nobody's entitled to it. It's a custom and practice. And I think you have and you have discretion to evaluate it in light of the circumstances. And what this will do is make the home overwhelming my home on the front side, which you see from the street. And I think that the overall character of the neighborhood will change dramatically by the construction of this home so close to mine. And the fact that the encroachment extension comes forward, and it's not only in the back where it would be invisible, it's forward toward the street, and it's a 2-story. It has the high roof there, would be looking over mine. And from a personal perspective, the room that it encroaches on closest to is my master bedroom. And the way my house is built, I can't change that. I can't move my bedroom to the other side. This is only a study or some additional room that he has there. He's got 4 bedrooms. He's got an office. He's got other structures there. To me, it's not a necessary part of the home to have this to do what he wants there. And this is all things I tried to explain to Mr. Steele there. And so I think that you're taking a small cottage, and most of the homes in our community on that street there are cottage style. There's no huge, large homes on the street immediately adjacent to a neighbor within 10 feet anywhere on the street there. There is one large home across the street that's been added on. It sets back. It's got more of historical style to it, at the nature of it. This new home will have no historical conventions to it. It's a modern home. It's a very nice home. I give him that. It's going to be there, but it's, again, completely out of character with what we have on Gum Street in this area there. And you go up and down, and the homes are completely different nature. So although the custom and practice allows, in some circumstances, extension of the encroachment there, like in David's, what's in the back and it's not adjacent to somebody's other living quarters there, there's not a law saying it automatically happens. You have discretion. And then if you look at the aesthetics of it, and I think that's what you're charged with, is looking at the aesthetics, how this is going to fit within the neighborhood, how this is going to fit within the community. And you have something that's going to overwhelm a home. And I think I have a very nice house. It's a smaller house. It's only a little bit over 2,000 square feet, 2,300 there. But I spent a lot of time landscaping it, working it. I provided you pictures there. And you can see along the sideline there, I don't know if Becca, you have my information, you can show that there, or I can share my screen, whatever's easiest.
If you want to share your screen, you can.
Okay, let's see. And then, so this is my letter, and you saw that. And so this picture here just shows that, this is how close the homes is. This area where the cursor is, that's my master bedroom. This is the extension there. What he's going to add on will come out from almost slightly below this high roof line and come down to about the middle of here and be close to my house. And as we go, and you can see his own sketch here, proposal. This dotted line is the setback here. This is the existing home there, and it only goes back here. It looks like it's doubling the size of the home at least, plus with the large driveway in the front there. And so I took my survey for my home, the survey from his home. I tried to match them up. There's I'm a little bit off here, you can see, but you get the nature of it. I lined up this borderline here on both surveys exactly. And you can see mine is close here and close here, but his is here. And then this is what he wants to add. And this is the area of concern within the red there. And that's an additional from 14 feet to 46 feet encroaching on this setback here. And this is another view of the existing one. And you can see this is way back here. This is not against my bedroom window or anything. This is set way back. And this room was never used by the previous people very much. I mean, I never saw any activity. They never used this door. It was just an extra room that they used for storage or something. And this mulch line is approximately the property line. So you can see how if they build out from about here out to here in front of this air conditioning unit, it's going to be, so close. And the height of it is just be overwhelming. So that's the things I think that is proper for within your purview. If necessary, I'll file an appeal with the Board of Zoning Appeals if I need to on the zoning issue about the encroachment. But I think it's the aesthetics of it and the way it does not fit in within our neighborhood is something that's within your purview and you can consider. And I just ask you to consider my comments. I'm not an architect, I'm not a builder, I'm not a contractor, but I am somebody who's renovated a number of homes or paid to renovate a number of homes. I don't do the construction. I did a nice home on Sumter Avenue. I've done a number of other homes before that. I've done, I think, a nice job on this home. And I'd like to keep our street as inviting as it is now with people. I mean, there are kids bicycling up and down. People walk their dogs all the time. It's a very inviting part of town. And we're 2 blocks from Town Hall. And I love that. And I love living in this area here. And I want to keep the community as much as it is like it is. I don't begrudge Mr. Steele from wanting to improve his home. That's fine. But I think just some of these characteristics here can be done more on the backside or more on the other side where he has plenty of room to do that and not necessarily next to my bedroom window. Thank you much for your time. I'm sorry if I went on more than 5 minutes, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Do we have any comments from the board members about the project?
I'd like to say something. I think that the 2-story system is going to block any bit of sunlight into his house on that entire side. To me, that's a quality of life item that and much less the massive size of the thing. I think the massive size is out of character for the area too, but to have that huge addition so close to his house, they'd never get any sunlight on that side. I mean, I don't understand that. To me, I would be miserable if that were my situation and somebody cut off all the sunlight to that side of my house. I don't think it's appropriate.
Jeff? Beth, do you have any comments?
Oh, I thought you said Jeff. I'm sorry.
Well, I did. I said Jeff or Beth.
Oh, okay. All right. I think there is a way to accomplish this project with being very sensitive to the mass of that addition. It's the lot is pretty deep. You could go back without affecting the character of the street view. And I think there's a better way to accomplish this. I really do. And and the homeowner's been very patient and trying to make this project work. So, but I still think it's not complete yet.
Well, Jeff?
Yeah, I continue to feel like it's too big and too big of a change to a house that's so notable, as we call it. If you look at what's on the screen right now and you look at the dotted lines there, you can tell how much this is adding to the house. And my feeling is that in addition to the fact that it's pushing it on the right-hand side for the neighbor, it's just an awfully big change to this home.
Well, in following up on Beth's comment about, maybe some of this could be accomplished by going deep rather than wide. One of the things that we approved last month was that bedroom addition to the house on Magnolia Street, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That was very sensitively done. It was basically gave the appearance of a second smaller house added to the first larger house. And maybe an approach like that along 2nd Street could accomplish some of what they want. I'm opposed to the appearance of what's submitted. I have been from the beginning, although lots of improvements have been made. But I think the project is too large for what exists there now. And I do not want to see the cottages taken over and turned into McMansions, no matter how well designed.
All right. Wait a minute now. 3,100 square foot or 3,000 square foot is not a McMansion. And, you guys asked and we talked all about this a month ago. And nobody, and even you, David, didn't voice this concern. I mean, we had direction of what we wanted, and I agreed, and I gave it back to the designer. And, I'm trying to move this project forward, but I don't think that the size of the house, the addition part of it, is nowhere near what's required, for the town of Somerville as far as placement on the lot. I mean, we still got extra space there. and the home itself was actually built before, I believe, the neighbor on the right-hand side, Mr. Hart. So, I don't think it was intentionally set back that far. If you look at the existing part, it looks very close to it. They said, okay, let's put it in the middle. The house on the right-hand side, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not perfect with numbers, but I believe was built after the house that we have.
Well, I think if you look back at the recordings of these meetings, I spoke against the size of this and mass of this project at the beginning.
I'm talking about 30 days ago. I get it. I mean, as I voiced to everybody that the home needs to become a home. Today, the way it's laid out is not functional. I met with Mr. Hart. I explained the same thing to him. To make it a functional home that resembles something built 150 years ago, it's got to change. And that street will change. It may not change with our design, but it will change. And people will modernize and, they will add on and do these things to make the homes more livable for today's livability. So I'm trying my best to get this project to go. As far as, light in the bedroom window, our homes, the sun rises in the east, which is on South Gum Street, kind of maybe a little northeast maybe, and then travels to the west, which the sun doesn't visit that bedroom window. I want to be a good neighbor. I want to be a good person.
I'm sorry. The sun does there. I mean, the afternoon sun comes right over your house to my house.
I'm just looking at what it says on our survey with north south.
I'm just telling you what it is living there, and where I look at the sun every day. It's right over your house. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude to you, David. And I did express these concerns
no quorum
to
with
you.
it. I'm just telling you what I'm looking at on the survey.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my best to do what I can do to make everybody happy. But if we're going to go every 30 days and it's got to change, then we'll never get this project going.
I mean, there's plenty of room in the back here to expand the house back this way. And the encroachment back there doesn't necessarily affect me as much because it's not directly against my house. And you've got, I don't know how many
debate this
1,000 square feet there. I'm just giving you options there. And I've had to design and redesign homes. I've been through the same process that you've been through a number of times with different homes. And I understand the frustration you may be going through, but please understand how I am. I bought the house, I'm living there, and all of a sudden something's going to come in and change it completely. I mean, just please understand because I understand what you're going through, but you're just in the design. It's easy to change the paper and then change it later than it is to afterwards when the house is built to try to fix things. It's only on paper now.
Do we want any more discussion from the board?
This is 4 months.
Well, this is Tim. I'll just say very quickly that I do feel that we have kind of drug David through the ringer here a little bit, because we have had him come back 3 times, I think, to try to get this thing approved. However, and I feel badly about that, because I feel like he addressed the things we brought up last time, or attempted to address the things we brought up last time. However, I don't think I ever realized the relationship to the house next door. And I don't think there were any photos in the original packages that presented that, and shame on me, I didn't drive by and see it with my own eyes until today. And I'll have to agree that I feel like the library addition on the right-hand side is too close to the existing house. I don't think it is in keeping with the streetscape or with the historic district there. I'm okay with the additions behind the front of that house, and the fact that they encroach into the right of way, but that front corner I just feel like is not in keeping. So I'm okay with the addition. I'm okay with modernizing. I'm okay with the size of the house. I don't have any objection to the 3,100 square feet or any of that kind of stuff. But that one corner, I just don't feel like is probably appropriate for the street. So that's where I would be.
I agree with you, Tim.
David, I don't know if there's a way for you to modify that plan so that what happens on that right-hand side can be slid back, so that maybe that second bedroom aligns more with the screen porch, and what occurs behind that line, it won't change the front of the house nearly as much. It would keep more of the historic fabric by doing that, and to still allow you to accomplish your floor plan and basically your goal. So I don't know, but I guess I'd like to hear from everybody else, because what I would hate for them to do is to make these changes once again and then come back again and people not be okay with it. So if there's more to that, or if people don't agree with that, I would appreciate everybody speaking up.
I agree with you, Tim. I would like to see the enlargement go toward the rear. It would make it look still like the cottage from the front, from South Gum Street. And I have to apologize for not saying 2 months ago that this to me was gigantic, and just too big as far as looking at the house from Gum Street. I'm new on the board. I think I was nervous about making my opinion known that early, and I should have. You probably wouldn't have lost as much time, David Steele, as you have. And I don't think 3,100 square feet is the McMansion either. And I know you need to have a house that's livable. And I hope that what we're suggesting will work for you, so that we can go ahead and say yay the next time. I feel bad we've dragged this out as well, but I could not agree with it with this. I couldn't vote for it at this point with the way it looks from South Gum Street, taking up the whole width of the lot.
Well, I think that one of the other things we need to keep in mind, if we're going to encourage going back rather than wide, is also how it's going to appear from 2nd Street. And that we don't just move one mass from one place to another place. And one of the things that I have not been fond of all along is the number of kind of stacked gables that we see, which is kind of one of the ways new construction is trying to add some interest to flat spaces. And so if we're going to encourage him to look at ways to go deep rather than wide, I think we also need to try and keep in mind that it needs to have a cottage appearance from the 2nd Street also.
So I'm trying to look at the plan, the front elevation of the existing compared to the the new on the left-hand side of the house. And I can't really tell how many feet, because the window arrangement's gonna change the way it's drawn now. I can't really tell how much further that actually goes out on the left-hand side. But I feel the same way. I also didn't know how close it was to the other house until I drove by today. And after seeing the pictures and after what I've seen, I'm just feel uncomfortable with that on the right-hand side of the house. I wouldn't be able to prove that as it is.
Beth?
Once again, I concur with what's been said. I've actually been in the house and looked at it when it was on the market, and it is very close. When you step out of onto that little porch, existing little side porch, you just want to stick your hand out and touch Tom's house right there. So, I mean, I know how close it is. And I think it's very important streetscape wise to keep the cottage look. Now, I don't know what that means for building on to the back of it. I'm not an architect, so I don't know how you keep that look. But I think it needs to be looked at. And I don't know if you go off to the left or right, which is the better side to go on. I don't know. I can't really answer that. But
I think one of the design elements I haven't liked from early on was the shed dormer on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at how the shed dormer from the 2nd Street is masked, it looks really big in terms of the profile, the alteration of the profile of, and look at the top picture versus the bottom picture there. And
that is massive. I mean,
and the other thing that's massive is how high the roof line is of the portion that goes 90 degrees to the front gable. And that's a very heavy appearance to me. You know, and I don't know, there's just got to be a better way to, if you're going to make that smaller cottage into a larger one, to make it still look cottagey. And I don't mean cottagey in the Homes and Gardens magazine type look, but I mean authentic cottagey.
mm-hmm.
And I recognize that this is a big project and an ongoing disappointing project, but for the homeowner, but it was also a big change from what's there. And I don't think it's there yet. And I'm sure you're frustrated by what you think is a lack of direction or a changing direction, but to me, it doesn't meet my criteria for what we're trying to do.
I will agree, David, and I think this is Beth. I think that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the architect needs to get what we're talking about, what we're trying to convey in keeping that historic look.
Are we also dealing with an architect or a designer?
I don't think Mr. Steele is on the line anymore.
Well, we have to keep in mind that our charge on the BAR is to try to keep this kind of thing from happening. And it would be a beautiful house. There's no doubt about it. But our charge is to, this is the historic district, and to keep it the historic district.
This would be a nice house, and I said it in the first meeting. This would be a nice house for new construction in a subdivision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
well, I move that we do not approve this plan as presented.
May I enter in just for a minute? I'd like to see us defer it for a month. Rather than if we disapprove anything, that gives him a long period before he can even start coming back to us again.
Okay.
And
It's a 6 month period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
well, I'll withdraw that. I'll withdraw that.
Yep.
But because looking at the floor plan, I mean, if he moved his office away from that front corner, that would pretty well open up that whole section where everybody's been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It would. If he would do that and get rid of the dormer on the front, to me, those are the two worst things.
The most glaring things that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
I wish that Tom had been able to get with us earlier, because I know we would have looked at it 2 months ago if it had been brought up.
I apologize, I didn't. I was out of town working, and I couldn't get on the Zoom. I apologize.
I know.
But I did tell Mr. Steele. I did share with Mr. Steele long ago my concerns.
Well, I wish you'd written your letter and gotten it in earlier, because we certainly would have. You'd have heard the same comments you hear now. So
That's also.
But anyhow, it would be my recommendation that we defer any action on it till next month.
Okay.
Good.
And
Bill, can I just put one thing in the notes?
Sure.
I'm still not happy with the porch railings. That's been my hang up the whole time. I think they look too busy right now. They're not back to that original.
Well, this is where I really wonder whether this is done by an architect or by a draftsman.
Yeah.
I think it's a draftsman.
To me,
piers aren't right either.
The railing looks too high and too squashed in from side to side for that type of.
Yeah, the look of the house just changes completely.
What?
Mm-hmm. The look of the house just changes.
I know.
It's too busy.
Doesn't even like the same place.
Yeah. And that's not our goal. Our goal is to enhance it. So,
I know we haven't made him happy, and I think we need to be consistent in how we deal with neighbors' concerns when there is also an issue that their concerns may be potentially trumped by town rules. Whether they're codified or not.
But nobody submitted any pictures that showed it accurately either.
Yeah.
I'm looking back through the
In Mr.
photos.
Steele's defense, he did submit a picture that showed Mr. Hart's residence, and you can see the proximity, but he did submit pictures, but I understand where you're coming from.
I
I
missed
think it
those.
might have been clearer if there'd been a stake in the front yard at the front corner of his planned
Probably, yes.
thing, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm
We're
sorry.
on the same page.
All right.
All right.
So what do we
Are we
do now?
willing to just defer it for a month?
Sure.
Yeah, y'all just won't take a vote on it.
I don't think we need a vote.
Okay.
That,
I don't-
everything down to miscellaneous?
I don't think anyone's hopped on for 207 South Gum.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. All right, you made it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was yelling and screaming. My kids were screaming. I'd log off and come back home.
Okay, give me just a second. I'll hop down to your project.
Thank you for speaking up.
Yeah.
No worries.
Oh, nope, not there yet.
One more.
There we go.
There it is.
All right, Drew, if you want to just explain the project, and I'll go through the pictures for the board members to see, and the drawings that you've done.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, this is just a kitchen and bath renovation. But let's see what picture. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth picture down. We're basically wanting to delete that window on the rear elevation on the far left. Put in basically a enclosed bathroom or toilet room there. And then remove the window to the right of it for a wet room, and then go back in with just a fixed or direct set window, keeping the same width and header that's existing. But essentially, there's going to be a tub up under that window. That's what we're hoping to do. What I've put in for is a fiberglass window. Try to steer clear of wood windows in those wet rooms.
Does what?
I'm sorry?
What did you say about the window? I'm sorry.
Oh, under the one that we'd like to delete the far left from that small one altogether. The one next to it, basically
I
take that out.
I can barely hear you. I don't know about the other.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my apologies. I had it on speaker. So the far left window, we'd like to take that out completely. That the rear elevation there, basically just have that. It's going to be a standalone toilet room, and then the window to the right of it, remove that and go back in with either a direct set or a fixed frame window above a bathtub, but keep the same header height and the same width.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would like to do is go back in with a fiberglass window versus a wood window, being that it's in a wet room.
Fiberglass window.
So is that all the changes to the exterior?
Yeah, that's the only thing we're looking for.
So are you enlarging the window right next to the one that you're going to make the little bathroom?
Are we enlarging?
Next to the door. To the
You're not touching that window, are you?
No, that one is going to stay.
Okay, I thought 6/6.
It looks a little different.
Yeah.
Let's see the photograph.
There you go.
Okay, those,
Oh, they are. Okay, they're two windows together.
so there's side by
The new
side,
one looked
6
like
over
8
6.
over 8. The new drawing looked like 8 over 8.
Yeah, but he's not removing the windows.
Yeah.
So is he
Everybody okay
filling
with
one
that
in
transom?
and leaving one? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, the one's gonna stay on the right, the middle one's gonna have a transom up above it, and then the one on the left's gonna go away.
Okay.
Well, no,
And
one
all this
in
is
the
on
middle.
the
Sorry.
oh, this is all on the back of the house. And looks like this is an addition. Was this an addition at some time?
Well,
Years ago, it looks like.
It's
so the
not seen
porch is
from the
gonna stay
street
there,
though.
it's just interior work that's being done.
Other than
Correct.
the
This is all
windows that
interior
were.
work
Yeah.
other than there's two
Other than the
windows.
windows. Is everybody okay with the transom being, the fiberglass window?
Mhm. Is that the only
I
one
don't
that's
know why you
fiberglass?
need a fiberglass window in the bathroom.
I'm sorry?
I say, I'm not sure you need a fiberglass window in a bathroom.
Versus wood window.
Versus
Versus
wood.
wood, because everything else is wood.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to do that more for the durability standpoint of it.
Yeah, I don't see the detail as to how you gonna replace that left of the 4 windows there with a transom.
Left of the 4. And the small window,
I understand the small window would go away.
He's talking about the window above the paint cans.
Yep.
correct.
So he's gonna remove the windows and put siding up and fill it in on the inside and have a bathroom there and a shower against that wall, and then have a transom go across the top of it for light.
Well, we basically pull those two windows out,
Mm-hmm.
leave that header height, go down, put in, go for the siding,
Oh,
and
okay.
then put in. Right, and that's not the shower wall. The actual shower wall will be across from it, but there'll be a freestanding bathtub under that.
Okay, bathtub, okay.
But in an enclosed wet room. That's why we're looking at the fiberglass.
I don't see the need for fiberglass either.
Well, can you do it?
Shower
Wood?
splatter.
Oh, fiberclad.
Yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do is keep the wood windows. I mean, on a house like this, you don't generally see that. So if you could go back with wood or a clad window or something other than fiberglass or vinyl, that's what we're looking for.
Okay. Obviously just the exterior, but I mean, if I can find something that's got a fiberglass interior, wood clad exterior.
Right.
Okay. Easy enough. I'll say that, but we'll see.
And you'll trim it
Down
out
there.
like other windows?
Yeah, we're gonna do siding and trim to match existing.
Okay, now, in trimming that out, it should have a sill, and then the framing around it should not be picture framed. It should be stile and rail.
It should basically match what the other windows look like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, would that be time just mulling two windows together to have that?
What?
I didn't understand.
Basically,
It's more about the
fixed windows together.
Tim, explain
Not the
to
same
him.
look.
it's more about the trim around the window is what we're discussing. to just match the trim around the windows so that it matches the existing windows. So you have a sill instead of a picture frame.
Right.
When they
Okay.
picture frame the window, the trim, we'll call it a 1x4. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but the 1x4 runs around all four sides. The way these windows are, if you pull up the windows, there's a window sill that the window frame trim sits on top of. And we're just saying keep that same
Right.
detail.
Okay. Yeah. Easy enough.
Any other comments, questions?
I think we've agreed.
I move that we approve the project, keeping in mind that he needs to trim out that transom window as per the other windows so that it matches.
I'll second.
Okay, please answer for me. Filed everything on top. Beth,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and I say yes. So I think that takes everybody.
All
We
right,
wish you
Drew,
well
I'll
with it.
send you the approval certificate tomorrow, okay?
All
All
right.
right. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Now
Happy New Year,
miscellaneous
guys.
items, something that we didn't put in there, but we need to, according to our regulations, we're supposed to elect chairman and vice chairman at the first meeting of the year. And that being today. So, first off, Beth does advise me that Nancy Jean and I were both approved for continuing on the board. So,
All
Yes.
right.
I guess
Yeah.
that
Great.
makes you chairman.
Tag, you're it.
that if that's everybody's wish, that's fine with me. How about
Yes.
vice chairman?
I think that's
Yes.
David.
Yes, David.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, Becca, do you need a formal vote, or you think that we've pretty well everybody said that they want to do?
I like to play by the rules. I would like a vote, please.
I knew
All
you were
right. I'll make a motion that we approve Bill and Dave.
Second.
a second.
All right, please answer yes or no. Tim,
Yes.
Jeff,
Absolutely.
Beth,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
That was such a reluctant yes.
And,
Yes.
and I say yes. One like today though is kind of rough,
It is. It's hard.
but such is life, isn't it?
Such is life.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's it. I wish all of y'all a happy new year. And as a expression was once told me, I hope that your worst day this year will be better than your best day last year.
Woohoo.
So,
All right. Sounds good. Same to you.
so y'all
Thank you.
take
Happy
care.
New Year, guys.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you. Same
All
here.
right. Bye, guys.
Night.
Bye.
I'll take an adjourn or
Yeah, if we get a motion to
adjourned.
adjourn.
So
need a
moved.
motion.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.